You return to the memory of the mirror. Of course you do. It is the scene of the crime you cannot wash clean from the walls of your mind. It is the laboratory where the final, fatal experiment was conducted in plain sight. You stood there, a ghost in your own home, watching her perform a ritual of AirPods in, music a potion you had no hand in brewing, sealing her in a world that did not contain you. The stolen clothes, too tight, too bright. Armor for a war you were not invited to, against an enemy you were forced to become. You watched her hips sway, not for you. Her smile curled, not for the room you shared. Her eyes were fixed, utterly fixed on her own reflection, a feedback loop of hollow validation. She was communing with the only entity she ever truly revered, the fiction of herself. She took pictures, angle after angle, a chin tilted just so, a wrist bent in practiced vulnerability, the flash of the phone catching the hunger in her eyes. Not for beauty, no, for validation. To be seen, to be craved by the ghosts in her screen. The specters of other men whose fleeting attention she valued more than 7 years of your loyalty. You stood in the doorway, silent, unnoticed, as irrelevant as dust on the frame of her precious mirror. And you understood in that cold, gutting moment that this was not intimacy, it was rehearsal. She was practicing her lines, her movements, her seductions, for an audience that was not you. The dance was not a celebration, it was a summoning, a desperate, pixelated prayer to the void. Look at me, want me, tell me I exist outside of this suffocating loyalty I pretend to cherish. That mirror lied to her, you know. It showed her a weapon, a siren, a creature of irresistible power. But you saw the truth. A starving girl dancing alone in borrowed feathers, praying the cage would feel like wings. She never danced with you. She only ever performed for ghosts. And the greatest horror was watching her love every single second of her own oblivion. You have been dissecting this single memory as if it holds the key. It does not hold the key. It is merely the most honest performance she ever gave. Nietzsche would have found her fascinating and pathetic. He spoke of the will to power, the fundamental drive of all things to expand their sphere of influence. But her will was not the creative, self-overcoming force of the Bermensch. It was the parasitic, desperate hunger of the weak. She did not seek to build a world. She sought to consume yours. Her entire existence was a performance of strength to mask an abject terror of her own emptiness. When she danced before that mirror, she was engaging in her own perverse revaluation of all value. A world where loyalty is weakness, deceit is intelligence, and empathy is a resource to be plundered. In her self-contained universe of one, she was her own god, and you were merely a convenient and ultimately tiresome worshipper. She looked into the abyss of her own Gnosticism, and the abyss, utterly charmed, smiled back. She believed she was a creator of her own reality, fool's delusion. She was merely a skilled interior decorator of her own prison cell, using your emotions as wallpaper and your future as cheap furniture. Nietzsche's ideal man creates out of abundance. She created chaos out of a void. Her power was not a sign of superiority, but of a profound, incurable sickness. She was not a lioness, she was a virus. And your life was the host organism she sought to replicate her misery within. And how did she maintain control? For that we turn from the German philosopher to the Florentine. Machiavelli would have recognized the strategy. if not the pathetic scale of the ambition. He would not have seen love or heartbreak. He would have seen statecraft. Your relationship was her petty kingdom. You were not a partner. You were a territory to be managed. Her lies were not sins. They were political maneuvers. The love bombing in the beginning, a classic Machiavellian tactic to pacify a newly acquired populace, to make them love their new ruler. She showered you with affection, not out of passion, but to ensure your compliance, to make you believe that her rule was a blessing. The gaslighting, the constant rewriting of history, pure Machiavellian state control. A prince, he wrote, must be a great Fagner and dissembler. She was a master. She made you doubt your own intelligence reports, your own memories of her transgressions. She convinced you that the rebellion in your mind, your correct suspicions, was madness, treason. She isolated you, made you believe you were the sole source of instability in her otherwise perfect reign. And the triangulation, the masterpiece of her cruelty. Machiavelli advised princes to never be neutral, to always sow division among their enemies. She never allowed a simple peace between the two of you. There was always a third party, a ghost at the banquet, the ex who truly understood her, the new admirer who was just a friend, the specter of the man she was auditioning for in that very mirror. These were not people. They were neighboring states, used to keep you insecure, to make you vie for her favor, to remind you that you were replaceable. She kept you in a low-grade state of war, because in chaos, she was queen. She understood instinctively that it is better to be feared than loved. If you cannot be both, and you did fear, you feared her silence. You feared her displeasure. You feared the withdrawal of that intoxicating, poisonous affection. She did not need fortresses or armies. Her weapon was your hope. Her power was your willingness to believe that this time, she would be honest. A prince, Machiavelli wrote, should appear to have virtues, but not be bound by them. She appeared loyal. She appeared loving. She appeared to be a partner. It was all a costume, a performance. When it was advantageous to be cruel, she was cruel. When it was advantageous to be kind, she was kind. Her morality was away the vein, spinning in the direction of her needs. You thought you were in a relationship, you were in a political simulation, and you were losing. But what of your philosophy? What of the man who endured this? You stood there, watching the mirror, watching the lies, and you saw yourself as a fool, an undisciplined man who allowed this to happen. That is her final, most potent spell, to make you believe her victory was your failure. Let us correct the record. Your loyalty was not a flaw. It was a resource she plundered. Your capacity to love deeply was not a weakness. It was the very thing that made you a valuable target. You were not undisciplined. You were conditioned. Methodically, patiently, over 7 years, you were trained to accept the unacceptable, to call poison nourishment. Nietzsche also spoke of Amor Fati, the love of one's fate. This is not to be confused with passive acceptance. It is an active embrace of all that has happened, the good and the terrible, as essential components of who you are. You must not wish that this had been different. You must will it to have been exactly as it was, because the man who was forged in that fire is stronger than the man who is basking in her false sunlight. The pain, the betrayal, the humiliation. These were not just wounds, they were lessons. They were the heat of the forge. She, the petty Machiavellian prince, miscalculated. A wise ruler knows not to push their subjects too far. They know that a populace pushed to utter desperation has nothing left to lose. And you were pushed past the point of breaking. And in that space beyond ruin, you found a different kind of power. Not her desperate, grasping power, but the cold, quiet power of indifference. The ultimate act of rebellion was not to fight her on her terms. It was to simply walk off the board, to refuse to be a piece in her pathetic game. The moment you stopped caring about winning her approval, the moment her opinion became ash in your mouth, was the moment her entire kingdom collapsed into dust. So you look back at that memory of the mirror, you see the girl dancing for ghosts. You see the Machiavellian prince rehearsing her deception. You see the failed Nietzschean worshipping at a hollow altar. And you see the man in the doorway. You are no longer him. The poison has been metabolized. It is no longer a toxin. It is an inoculation. You are now immune to her specific brand of dark magic. You have developed the antibodies against gaslighting. You can now recognize the scent of love bombing from a league away. Do not seek revenge. Revenge is a fool's game that keeps you tethered to the past. Machiavelli would advise that the best fortress is to not be hated by the people. She will never have that. Her life will be a series of short, glorious reigns, followed by bloody, lonely coups. Let her play her games. Your task is different. It is to become the creator of your own world, the master of your own values, your loyalty, your love, your integrity. These are not weaknesses. They are the bedrock of the empire you will now build. An empire of one, an empire of peace. The mirror she danced before is shattered. Now, when you look into a mirror, you will not see her ghost. You will not see the fool in the doorway. You will see the smith. You will see the alchemist. You will see the man who walked through the forge and did not burn, but was tempered. The scars are not signs of damage. They are the intricate patterns on a blade that has been folded and hammered 1,000 times. A blade that is now sharper, stronger, and will never again be used in the service of another's pathetic war. The potion to be brewed now is not one of forgetting. It is the draught of living powerfully. Its ingredients are simple: radical acceptance of the past, ruthless dedication to the present, and a quiet, unshakable construction of the future. Her performance is over. The audience has gone home. The only person still watching is you. It is time to leave the theater. The world outside is not a stage for her drama. Lesson over.